beneath the icy dark waters of the deep ocean, where sunlight cannot reach. And survival is a constant challenge, lives one of the most intelligent invertebrates on Earth, the octopus. But intelligence is not the only remarkable trait of this animal. What truly astonishes scientists is the octopus's reproductive strategy, a strategy so extreme it requires the mother to give her life for a single generation. Unlike many animals that can reproduce multiple times, the female octopus reproduces only once in her lifetime. This is a one-way journey, an irreversible path of sacrifice and biological self-destruction. The single lifetime strategy. Once mating is complete, the female octopus retreats into a den, a safe and hidden shelter among rocks. Inside, she carefully attaches tens of thousands of eggs to the surface, forming delicate, shimmering clusters that resemble hanging grapes floating in the current. From this moment onward, her purpose changes completely. She will not hunt again. She will not feed. Her entire existence becomes devoted to her eggs. The octopus mother stops eating entirely, surviving only on her own body reserves. She becomes still and silent, transforming into what scientists sometimes call a living incubator. Why does she stop eating? This dramatic change is not a matter of choice. It is triggered by powerful internal biology. At the center of this process is the optic gland, an organ in the octopus's head that functions much like the pituitary gland in vertebrates. After mating, the optic gland releases hormones that completely rewire the female's body. These signals suppress her desire to feed, while also starting a process of self-digestion, breaking down her own muscles and tissues to provide the energy needed to survive the long brooding period. This is not emotion. It is not tenderness. It is programming, a genetic blueprint written over millions of years of evolution, a relentless vigil. During this time, the mother performs a set of highly specialized behaviors. She constantly blows oxygen-rich water across the eggs, ensuring each embryo receives enough to survive. She uses her arms to clean fungi, bacteria, and debris from the egg surfaces, preventing infection or suffocation. And most striking of all, she never leaves the den, not once. Even as her own body weakens, even as her muscles waste away from starvation, she remains at her post, a tireless guardian. The longest brooding period in the animal kingdom. For most octopus species, the incubation period lasts a few months. But in the deep sea, where colder water slows down embryonic development, the period can stretch to extraordinary lengths. In 2014, researchers studying Granelodon boreopacifica off the coast of California documented a female octopus that brooded her eggs for 53 months, that's 4.5 years. For the entire time, she never left her nest, never hunted, never fed. This stands as the longest brooding period ever recorded in the invertebrate world. Think about that. More than 4 years of complete fasting and absolute devotion. Programmed death after reproduction. Eventually, the eggs hatch. Tiny, fragile octopus hatchlings emerge, each beginning its independent journey into the ocean currents. There is no parental care after hatching. The young must survive on their own from the very first moment. By this time, the mother is near death. The optic gland begins to break down, leading to neural degeneration and the collapse of essential body systems. Within days, the mother dies, her body consumed by the very process that allowed her to bring life into the world. This is an example of a life history strategy known as semelparity, a biological system where an organism reproduces once, then dies. We see it also in salmon, in certain insects, and even in some plants. But in the octopus, it takes on one of its most dramatic and heartbreaking forms. Why evolution favors sacrifice. So why would nature design such a strategy? From an evolutionary perspective, it makes sense. First, it prevents competition between mother and offspring. Once the young hatch, they are not forced to compete with a larger, stronger adult. Second, it maximizes resources. The female invests every ounce of her energy into ensuring that one generation has the best chance of survival. And third, it reflects an adaptation to unpredictable and resource-limited environments, where reproducing only once but with maximum effort may be the best survival tactic. A final reflection. The sacrifice of the octopus mother is not about emotion, and it is not about love in the human sense. It is the result of evolutionary programming, a strategy that nature has refined over millions of years. Yet despite its biological explanation, it remains one of the most moving spectacles of the natural world. The mother octopus transforms herself into a living machine of survival. She programs her own death so that new life can begin. And in the vast silence of the deep ocean, her story becomes a reminder that survival does not always depend on strength or aggression. Sometimes survival is built on patience, endurance, and the quiet power of sacrifice. And this is the end of the video. Thank you for staying until the end. See you next time.